Benevolent leadership from the stars have come to Earth to work with us to create a magical school. As a group of light workers, we have come together and are creating a consortium to serve the highest good of the collective in sharing hope, possibility, and freedom, while providing a refuge from the chaos of the great change.
Welcome. This is the School of Light, and my name is Deborah Leanne. I am your host today. This is the second of our introductory interviews of the curriculum and the faculty and who we are as the collective that are putting together this School of Light. And today, my guest is the one and only Aurora Farber. And I cannot wait for you to get to meet her and feel into her unique color of light and how she operates and brings forth her energy and healing into the world. Welcome, Aurora.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a delight to be here. I can't wait to see what unfolds.
Yeah, well, you never know. So, let's just begin. Since I'm not doing the formal introduction of reading your bio, I figure people can find you online and do that. But to tell everyone today, what is it that you believe is part of the light that you are here, the facet of energy that you are here to play with in the School of Light?
Yeah, so what comes to me is I think about just my name, Aurora, which means the dawn, and that aspect of light that is an awakening, that liminal period between the darkness and the light. And so that's what I feel that I'm here to bring, as part of my primary mission is to ignite the feminine fire, to ignite this light in our hearts of the divine feminine consciousness. And so that's what I also feel, that's why I felt drawn to the School of Light in the first place, because it was already resonating in me on so many levels as part of my own purpose. So yeah, I feel like I'm here to bring awakening, and the awakening starts within ourselves, and then it's like passing a light from one to another, to another, to another. Yes. So it's the awakening of the planet into love. Yes.
And there's something about the grounding of your fire that feels safe and nurturing and warm, but it still can be destructive. Tell me a little bit about fire as the background, the holder of the work that you do.
Yeah, so that's such a great question because, in my kind of everyday human self, I wouldn't have chosen to work with the element of fire, probably. I probably would have worked with water or air. But instead, fire is what has been given to me as part of my mission. And so for me, how I have come to really embrace and be able to carry this torch, this flame of fire, is recognizing the many different facets of fire. I love to work with archetypes, and there are two primal archetypes in the 13 Moon Mystery School, of which I'm a priestess initiate. One is the primal goddess, which is the fire that we're very familiar with, the Shakti fire, the creative fire. So fire can burn, it can create. One of her gifts is also this knowing that she knows her limits only once she gets there. So there is this place of being out of control in our creativity. And, I think we've been taught a lot, especially as women, to not allow our fire to consume too much, like stay in our lane, stay in our place. But when you work with creativity, there's that aspect of you have to release and let go. It's like birthing a child. You can't do it in the way that you want to or the way that's most comfortable, or, you have to just release and let go. And so that's the aspect of that orange flame of the work that I do and the light that I carry. And there's this light of the goddess of compassion, which is the violet flame.
Mm.
And so I think that's probably what you sense when you say, my fire feels grounded, because it's that violet flame, the flame of the heart, the triple flame of power, love, and wisdom that I also feel really resonant with. And this ability to stand in the energy of the goddess of compassion, to not turn away from that which we judge or we don't want to forgive, but instead to be with it and to recognize it, even in ourselves, to actually breathe it in and transmute it through the flame of our heart. I think that's one of the most powerful teachings that I have learned on this path, is to not turn away and to breathe it in. And the ability to breathe that in, trusting in that violet flame to burn it away, and then through my own vessel of the body to breathe out love and compassion.
Right. So the transmuting,
peace.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all of which is needed and being called forth from us right now. I mean, the world is in need of this type of practice, or what would you call it in terms of a way of being?
Yeah, I think that, of course, it's practice, contemplation. It's noticing like what fires you up, and then noticing how you react to it. You know, what's wonderful about working with archetypal energy is that I have 13 different archetypes that I can pull from. So if I need to transmute pain through, my heart with the violet flame, I can. But if I need to pull out my magic wand and be in the energy of the muse and bop it on the head, or bop myself on the head and say, bippity boppity boop, get out of that frame of mind. Or if I need to come into the wisdom of the wise woman and just sit in neutrality and heart knowing and seeing the bigger picture, these are, I think it's the practices of contemplations of contemplation, of which this school too is really deeply founded through the gene keys, this practice of the pause. And then for me, just kind of knowing a lot of tricks, having a lot of tools to work with it, which we're not taught.
No. And very often when we start feeling into the expansion of our own growth, it's so scary. And finding that community that is a safe place for us to play and practice with these new things is so important. I am so curious, where or when did you, I want to hear a little bit about how you began this journey. What was it that opened up for you that allowed you to see that being a priestess, being a deep archetypal teacher of this information, how did that all come about?
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, wow, that's a big question. So let me see if I can quintessentialize it. I think I've always been a seeker, like many people are. I've always worked with dreams, with my intuition. I've always been kind of the girlfriend that you'd come to if you had a problem and you wanted to kind of have someone hold a bigger view. That's just always been kind of my nature. And at the same time, there was this yearning in me of like, well, what is my purpose? I tried lots of different things. So it's kind of a common path of a seeker. It's like you seek, seek, seek. I've done many, many different things. I've lived in different countries, learned a couple of languages along the way. So I have been literally seeking in the world my passion and purpose. But it really came to me, I think, one day I was living in China at the time, in Shanghai, and there was a summit, and someone was speaking about birthing your purpose. And I thought, well, I've birthed 2 kids now. I want to birth my purpose. And in a meditation, I saw, and so this is, intuition is actually my life's work, gene key. So for those of you who know the gene keys, that's my life's work, gene key. So it was in a meditation, a guided meditation, that I was asked to see myself, years later. What was I doing? And I was standing on the beach after leading a retreat, and around my neck, I had a golden necklace, and it was the chalice. And the chalice is the symbol of the priestess. And I had a group of women come around, and the mothers were just like so happy, so grateful, so thankful to have received, a different way of being and living. And the funny part of the vision was that their daughters were around them, and they were like, what is wrong with our moms? Like the daughters were they were so distant from the kind of wounds that the mothers had that they didn't even get it. It was almost as though someone would say to me now that I don't have the right to vote. Like, I would look at them as though, well, what? That doesn't even make sense. And so that kind of lit a fire in my heart that said, of course I was trembling. I was like, me? I'm not meant to do that. Why me? Little old me. But that was the vision that began and kind of ignited that. And I kept going with it. Like, I was like, okay, I'm just going to trust it. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but eventually it did. And yeah, it's wonderful to be in a world now where I have a 17-year-old daughter who definitely can look at the wounds of women, and she doesn't have those same wounds.
Yes.
She has her own, which we all have, our own shadows, but not that collective sense of not enoughness that I think my generation kind of grew, or like second best.
Yes.
So,
yes. Yeah. And the beginning of the hold of the patriarchy has fallen away with this next upcoming generation, I want to call it. And yes. How beautiful that our daughters do not need to carry that forward, because I feel like we're still unleashing some of those burdens and those old stories, those collective patterns from generations back. It's been a heavy thing to carry. So I'm glad it's falling away. Tell me a little bit more about how you have woven gene keys through your work. That seems to be our common denominator amongst this collective at the School of Light.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to have found the gene keys, and I actually found the gene keys through my mentor in the Priestess Mystery School, Elaine Kalila Dowdy. She first told me about the gene keys, and she said that this was kind of the masculine version of the 13 Moon Mystery School. So I said, okay, I want to learn about it. So I started the contemplation, and then I found, Patricia, and then I found our collective. And so I just went, it's like my body and my mind and my spirit had an immediate yes to it. I didn't really know what it was, but as soon as I printed out my profile and I saw, you start with your life's work and your evolution, I saw intuition, unease, intuition to clarity, and then agitation to initiation to awakening. Oh, see, that's what I just said earlier, that I'm here to awaken. I didn't even really get that until now. So I guess that's the theme of it. But see, that's the kind of thing that happens with the gene keys. It's like that profile came, and then I saw it. And then it's like, yes, that is exactly what happens to me. I go into unease and I go into agitation. It's like boom, boom. But now I'm getting information that there's another way to do it, that I can actually go from unease to intuition and then take action, and then something new is born.
Yes,
and
beautiful.
What a revelation. I mean, all those spiralings of unease and agitation just fell away. Now, it's not that it happens all the time. Sometimes I go into agitation, but it's helped me to really trust my intuition and follow it. And, now I teach all about intuition. I have a course about intuition. I guide others to really lean on their intuition, because, intuition is what creates intuition, and intention creates synchronicity, and it really makes you feel as though you're living in a world of magic. So for me, the gene keys helped unlock my magic.
Yes.
Well, the magic that was already there.
Right.
It helped me see it.
Right. Yes. And it does a very subtle and beautiful unlocking, I believe, within each of us.
Yes.
And the seeds were already there. They just needed the germination, I suppose. Tell me how women, especially, fall into the role of teacher, healer, leader at this time. Tell me how your work supports women as they step more fully into being seen and valued and as leaders.
Yeah, so that's a wonderful question. And I feel, who I'm called to work with is really the awakening. I call her the awakening divine feminine leader. So the first step is to awaken this within. And so for me, it's to learn to begin to trust yourself. Intuition is a wonderful way to do that, because as you work with your intuition and you follow the path and magic begins to unfold, then you gain greater confidence instead of going into the spiral of doubt around, is this the right way? Is this the perfect way? Is this the way that I'm supposed to be doing it because of such and such and so and so? This kind of conditioned way of external validation that we've been taught and almost automatically fall into. When you work with your intuition, you begin to take ownership of your sovereignty and say, is this right for me? Like asking our heart knowing, asking our womb wisdom, tapping into our third eye. This is the way I feel that intuition helps women to be more confident about what they know, so that their own wisdom rises up, and then they have more confidence to speak about it and to share it. And when they do that, then everyone, it's the awakening in the heart of that fire, and then it's taking that, speaking it, and passing that on.
Absolutely.
Lighting up the world with love. That's the mission of my business, Feminine Fire, is to, awaken the hearts of women and set the world on fire with love.
I love that. And just the whole thing of allowing our hearts to be on fire, to actually have that kind of self-expression and self-guidance is so needed. So thank you for all that you do in that world. I would like to, before we close, if someone is intrigued and wants to know more about you or your business, or just to maybe connect with you for a synergy session. That's what I call mine. I don't know what you call your
mine's a heart light activation.
Oh, beautiful. Of course. And if you could let our audience know, how do they reach you?
Yes, you can reach me at www.aurorafarber.com. And while you're there, you can look around. And if you're curious about finding out which of the 4 clairs is your main intuitive gift, I have an intuition quiz. That's a fun little quiz. So you can find out the unique way that you receive the messages that will help you gain more confidence and speak your truth and share your wisdom.
Wow. That is awesome. Thank you for that. And thank you so much for not just the time today, but for bringing your beauty and love and wisdom through to this audience and to whoever is attracted to the School of Light, because I know that you are an integral part of it all.
Thank you so much. I did want to end. I have a piece that I wrote for Sovereign Unto Herself.
Okay.
Would that be okay to share?
Absolutely. We still have, yep, sure. Go ahead.
Kind of igniter of everything that we've been talking about. So it's from my chapter in here. It's called Waking Up Sleeping Beauty. And, Aurora is the name of Sleeping Beauty in the Disney fairy tale. So
perfect.
It's about my own journey of waking up to my own power as a woman. So at the end of it, I write, about, let me see what I want to read. So I write about a new fairy tale, really.
Okay.
So it's called A Sovereign Awakening. Once upon a time, there lived a princess, born both human and divine. Made of clay and stardust, she came into the world to unite that which was separate and heal the world with the love blazing in her heart. Her power was sourced from love and wisdom, and in the joy of communing with life. The earth was her playground, and the fairies were her friends. With her every step, she honored the land and the elements with reverence, blessed with everything needed to fulfill her divine mission. A seed of sovereign awakening was planted deep within her soul. But for this seed to germinate, she had to enter the darkness. She had to forget her true self and go to sleep. Embraced by the unknown, she became undone, forgetting her power. She gave it away or projected it onto others and replaced her inner truth with new rules on how to be good and perfect, to feel loved and valued. Deaf to the whisperings of her soul voice, she heard only voices outside herself, voices that condemned her as not enough or too much, until she embodied the false reflections she received. She had forgotten that she was both human and divine, with the power to birth new worlds, new life, and new stories into being. Her sacred flame smoldered underneath the scripts that others had written. With her spirit consumed and her power drained, she fell into a somber slumber, lasting for thousands of years, until the great awakening came. Then the seed finally sprouted and bloomed with true love's sovereign kiss. In that moment, her eyes wide, her heart open, her sacred flame once again ignited. She rose up like a fiery phoenix, pulsating, rising, soaring, her power now sourced from the temple of her heart. She released a piercing cry of truth and liberation, all the stories of unworthiness incinerated in one breath, as a song reclaiming her sacred divine humanity sent sparks of remembrance across the sky. I am she. I am she. She had lost herself in order to find herself, and now that she had awakened her sovereign power, it would never be put to sleep again.
Yes. I just want to breathe that in. Yes, yes. Aurora, this has been so much fun. I've been wanting to spend time with you, so this is a beautiful way for us to do that. And I am delighted to share this birthing of the School of Light with, not just share it with you, but with all of those that are going to come through the doors, the portal of the virtual doors that we're opening this equinox. So thank you. And until we play again next time.
Thank you so much. It's been my delight and pleasure. Blessings to all. Mwah.